Yes, hello guys. Let's proceed with our topic, which is sale of money, and our subtopic is inflation. Now here are the measures of controlling inflation. These measures are the ways which are done by the government through central bank, where the government put limitations to the central bank, and the central bank regulates the other commercial banks in this problem of controlling what inflation in the economy. Now, the measures of controlling inflation depends on type of inflation, as these measures can be characterized into three parts, which are monetary measures, physical measures, and non-monetary measures. So today we are going to look one after another, by starting with these monetary measures of controlling inflation, where under this inflation is controlled by adjusting money supply in the economy. It means that the circulation of money must be adjusted using central bank and the commercial banks. So now this central bank make or control the commercial banks in different ways. For example, open market operation. So the central bank give an order to the commercial banks to open market operations, where securities and bonds are sold to the people in order to reduce the quantity supply of money in circulation, so that it will reduce the problem of what? Inflation. Now also we have bank rate. Bank rate, there is a some amount of money which any commercial bank, when just taking a loan maybe from central bank, the bank must pay. So central bank raises this bank rate to commercial banks in order to discourage them to take a large amount of money in order to reduce the circulation of money in the economy. So when this bank rate is high, is where now the commercial banks, even private people, can't be engaged in taking a loan at a higher level because of this bank rate is high. But if this is low, now the commercial banks and the private people will take a large amount of money because the rate is very small. Another point is that the central bank uses control of credit. This is done in order to reduce the money supply in the economy. So the central bank give orders to the commercial banks to reduce the amount of supply of money in the circulation in the economy. This can be done by fixing or giving them order in order to be implemented by the commercial banks. And the commercial bank will give also order to the individuals or private persons who are willing to take maybe loans from bank for different purposes. Then next is that reserve requirements. So during inflation, the central bank tend to put a higher amount of reserve requirements that all commercial banks must pay or must put a certain amount of money as a reserve in central bank when taking money for different uses. So during inflation, the central bank raises or increases the amount of reserve requirements for commercial banks when taking money from banks. This is done in order to discourage them to take a large amount of money to the central bank and then put them into circulation in the economy. Another is a special deposit. This is special deposit also is done where the central bank give an order to those commercial banks to make a special deposit. This is because when they make special deposit, it means that they shall use a certain amount of money, which will be from commercial banks to central bank. It means now the money is back from commercial banks and from individual persons. Now, by doing so is where now there is a reduction or removal of the quantity of money supply from the circulations to the bank. So by doing so, inflation is being solved at a certain or at. Also, we have special credits. Special credits, it means that the commercial banks are being given order by the central bank to give special credit to special sectors. It means not all sectors can be given the amount of money in order to make their different activities. So the central bank can choose only a few sectors to be given money from those banks, and the others can be told to wait until maybe the problem of inflation will be solved. Also, we have moral suasion. In this issue now is where the central bank experts or central bank planners and economists can sit and discuss, so that to give education to the commercial banks and the other people in order to get solution how to solve the problem of inflation. It can be through giving them the negative effect of inflation to the economy from government, central bank, commercial banks, and the all people together. So they can agree each other what ways to be followed by all in order to reduce the problem of inflation. Now, next part is fiscal measures. Now, these are the measures where government control inflation by controlling taxes, revenue, and expenditure. So, as we have seen that there are other type of inflation which are being pushed by the increase of taxes, maybe when the government put a higher indirect tax to the goods and commodities can lead to inflation. So this fiscal measure deal with these three things: taxes, revenue, and expenditure. First, reducing taxation. By reducing taxes to goods and commodities and to the final consumers and the retail and the wholesalers, this means that even the goods and the services prices will be low, because those retailers and the wholesalers have got a tendency of purchasing and buying goods and commodities into a way that they can get a profit. So when the taxes is low, even the price will be low. So through that we can have now this problem of inflation can be solved. Then the second is that increase in direct tax. Increase in direct tax can lead to the decrease in indirect tax, because the indirect tax was directed to the final consumers. It means that the final consumers are individuals who buy goods and services from retailers or even a wholesaler. So when direct tax is or has been reduced by the government, even the price of goods and services will be low, because the cost of maybe purchasing goods from one place to another, or the tax of engaging in production of something will be low. So now the price of goods and services which are being produced by doing so by the producers will be also low. So the problem of inflation will be solved. Also, reducing government expenditure. Reducing government expenditure can help to reduce the problem of what? Of inflation. When the government expenditure does not exceed maybe the budget of the country, is where now the country cannot engage in importation of goods and other things which can lead to the inflation problem in the country. Now we have another part which is non-monetary measures. These are the measures that does not involve money supply. As we have seen here, money supply is the amount of coins and notes in circulation. It means that all money which are possessed by people, commercial banks and central banks in general in the economy we call money supply. So these non-monetary measures are the measures that does not deal with the money supply, but they deal with, first we have wage control. It means the government can put limitation. Maybe when a person has made a certain job to a company or to another person else, so the wage or the salary which will be paid to the person must be controlled by the government, where the government can put a minimum wage which will not be very high in order to reduce the supply of money in the economy. Also we have promotion of production. Promotion of production will lead to higher yields in the economy, where if we have higher yields of goods and services in the economy, we shall reduce importing finished goods from abroad, which can lead to the imported inflation. So through doing so, we can solve the problem of imported inflation. Also we have price control. Price control can be made by the central government by giving orders to the wholesalers, companies, even retailers, that maybe a certain amount of such kind of goods must not exceed a certain price. So it must be sold at a price which is very suitable to all people in order to reduce the problem of what? Inflation in the economy.
Purchase your tracks today.